ready.
Among them was an act that stood out immediately, not because of confidence, but because of visible tension. The performer kept pacing, whispering lines, stretching, stopping, starting again, as if battling an invisible storm. When their name was finally called, the applause from the audience sounded encouraging, but it did little to calm the fear written across their face. Walking onto the Britain's Got Talent stage, they forced a smile toward the judges, who waited with curious expressions, unaware that this audition was about to spiral in an unexpected direction. The music began slightly too early, catching the performer off guard. They stumbled into position, missing their cue by a split second that felt like an eternity. From the first move, something felt wrong. The timing was off, the rhythm shaky, and the confidence that should have driven the performance simply wasn't there. A few audience members exchanged glances, sensing discomfort. Simon leaned forward, eyebrows raised, while Amanda offered an encouraging smile, hoping the act would recover. Unfortunately, instead of improving, the mistakes began to pile up. A forgotten step, a cracked note, a sudden pause where there should have been a powerful moment, each error deepened the tension in the room. Halfway through the performance, panic fully took over. The performer froze, eyes wide, scanning the crowd as if searching for an escape. The music kept playing, unforgiving and loud, while seconds passed in painful silence. A nervous laugh escaped the performer's lips, and the audience responded with awkward applause, unsure whether to support or simply wait. Then came the dreaded buzzer. The red X flashed, followed by another. The sound echoed through the theater, sealing the fate of the audition. The performer tried to push through, but their energy had collapsed. When the music finally stopped, the applause was polite but thin, carrying more sympathy than excitement. As the judges prepared to speak, the performer stood motionless, shoulders slumped. Simon was the first to talk, his tone firm but not cruel. He pointed out that something clearly went wrong and asked whether nerves had taken control. The performer nodded, eyes glassy, admitting that they had practiced for months but lost everything the moment they stepped on stage. Amanda spoke next, gently acknowledging the courage it took to stand there and reminding them that one bad moment does not define their talent. Alicia added that while the audition didn't work, she could sense potential buried beneath the chaos. Bruno, expressive as ever, emphasized that performance is about connection, and today the fear had blocked it. Walking off stage, the performer felt crushed, replaying every mistake in their mind. Backstage, cheers finally fell, but so did a realization. They had faced their worst fear in front of millions, survived it, and learned something valuable. Episode 2 showed the aftermath, interviews, reflection, and the quiet strength that comes after failure. Though the audition went wrong, it became a powerful reminder that success is not built only on perfect moments, but also on the courage to fail publicly and keep going. Episode 3 opened with the consequences of that disastrous audition still hanging heavily in the air. The performer sat alone in the waiting area, watching other acts celebrate golden buzzers and standing ovations on a nearby screen. Every cheer felt like a reminder of what could have been. Doubt crept in, whispering that maybe the judges were right, maybe the stage was never meant for them. Yet beneath the disappointment, a stubborn spark refused to die. The producer's words echoed in their mind, reminding them that failure on Britain's Got Talent does not always mean the end. For some, it is only the beginning of a harder, more honest journey. Later, the performer was invited for a follow-up interview, not for a second-chance audition, but for reflection. Sitting under bright lights, they finally spoke openly about the pressure, the expectations from family, and the fear of being judged by millions. They admitted that they had tried to be perfect instead of being themselves. That confession became a turning point. Watching the footage back, they could see how tension had stolen their natural ability. Instead of anger, a strange calm settled in. For the first time, they understood that the stage had not rejected them, their fear had. Episode 4 shifted focus to growth beyond the spotlight. Cameras followed the performer back home, where the reality of life continued as normal. Friends offered comfort, family offered honesty, and both reminded them why they started performing in the first place. In a small rehearsal room, far from flashing lights and judges' desks, the performer began again. This time, there was no rush, no obsession with perfection. Mistakes were allowed. Laughter returned. Slowly, confidence rebuilt itself, brick by brick. What once felt like humiliation began transforming into motivation. The performer attended a local open mic night, a quiet contrast to the massive Britain's Got Talent stage. There were no buzzers, no televised pressure, just a small audience and genuine reactions. As they performed, something changed. The nerves were still there, but they no longer controlled the moment. The performance flowed naturally, and the applause at the end felt real and earned. It was not a viral moment or a life-changing contract, but it was healing. The performer realized that validation does not always come from judges, sometimes it comes from reconnecting with your own voice. As the episode drew to a close, the performer reflected on the audition that went wrong and how it unexpectedly shaped them. They spoke about resilience, about learning to stand back up when confidence shatters. The Britain's Got Talent experience, though painful, had forced them to confront their fears in the most public way possible. It stripped away illusions and left behind something stronger and more authentic. The journey was no longer about winning a competition but about becoming fearless in expression. By the end of episode 4, one truth became clear. A failed audition is not a final chapter, it is a test of character. While the red buzzers marked an ending on that famous stage, they also marked the beginning of self-belief that no judge could ever take away. Sometimes, when an audition goes wrong, life quietly redirects you towards something even more meaningful.